All right, today we're going to do 1.7 distributive property. All right. So like it shows, the distributive property can be used to find the area. If you notice, we have a rectangle right here. The rectangle has a length of x plus 5, a width of 8. If we break that down, because we do not know the bottom of the rectangle, all right, we break that into two pieces, x and 5. All right, so the distance across will be x plus 5. All right, we know that area equals length times width. All right, so when we set this up, we would have 8 times the entire quantity of x plus 5. All right, now we multiply, and we would take 8 times x plus the 8 times 5. So we have 8x plus 40 in simplest form, and that is our answer. This page, you don't need to write anything down really. It just shows that you can have this number in front of your parentheses can be positive. That number can be positive and it can be on the outside of the parentheses in the end. It also can be in the front with subtraction, all right, and then the same thing. So for example, if we look at this one right here, all right, whenever you have a number written at the end, you read this as the quantity of 30 minus 2 times 7. So I suggest you write the 7 first and then take 30 minus 2. Now this one we could find what 30 minus 2 is, right? Just for the practice of using the distributive property, let's distribute. So we will take 7 times 30, which is 210. Then now we have a minus sign, and now we're taking 7 times 2. All right, 7 times 2. So now we have 210 minus 14, which is 196. All right, 210 minus 14. All right, we have to borrow all the way here. All right. So 10 minus 4 is 6, 10 minus 1 is 9, and we have the 1. All right, so these hopefully should be pretty easy. So 3 times x plus 8. So again, we will distribute 3 times x. And then we have plus a 3 times 8. So 3x plus 24. Now, if you can get your answer without showing this step right here, I am fine from you going from here to your answer. All right, letter B. Letter B, I suggest you rewrite it. All right, I think it's easiest to always have the single number in front. So we'll write negative 7 times 5b minus 4. Now this one is a little tricky because it has a negative. So we will take negative 7 times 5b. So negative 7 times 5b. All right. Then we have a negative 7, all right, times a negative 4. So it has a minus here that goes with the number, remember. So we have negative 7 times negative 4. So negative 7 times 5b is negative 35, whoopsie, negative 35b. A negative times a negative is a positive, and then 28. This is our final answer. All right, so 5 times the quantity of x plus 7, so 5 times x plus 7, we have 5 times x plus 5 times 7. So our answer, 5x plus 35. All right, a couple more of these ones. All right, one with a fraction. All right, it doesn't matter if the fraction's inside the parentheses or outside, we still multiply the same. So 12 times the quantity of 3 minus 1 over 6t. So again, we'll take 12 times 3. All right, now we have a minus sign. So remember, that's a negative. So we're going to take plus. We have 12 times negative 1 over 6t. All right, so 12 times 3 is 36. Now, when you multiply fractions, we learn that you need to have both written as a fraction. Okay, we know a positive times a negative is a negative. And now you can cross cancel. So 6 and 12 cross out. So 6 goes into 6 one time. 6 goes into 12 twice. Now we eliminated our fractions because we have ones on the bottom. So we have a 2 times negative 1t, which is a negative 2t. We have our final answer. All right. Decimals are the exact same way. So again, since 3 is written at the end, I would like to rewrite it. 3 times 0.4 plus 1.1c. All right, now we distribute. We take 3 times 0.4 plus 3 times 1.1c. Now, we learned when you multiply decimals, you can just multiply the numbers. So we have 3 times 4, which is 12, and there is one number after the decimal point, so we need to put the decimal. So there's one number after the decimal. Plus, all right, now we take 3 times 1.1, so 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 1 is 3, and c. Same thing, there's one number after the decimal point, so you go to your number, and you have to put the decimal in the middle. So your final answer is 1.2 plus 3.3c. All right, last one. All right, you might see one or two like this on your assignment. So again, we have two variables in this one. It's the same variable, so we have the negative y in front, and then 2y minus 1. So now this time when we distribute, we're taking a variable, negative y, times 2y. All right, again, this is a negative. So now when we take negative y times negative 1, right, we have negative y times negative 1. Now when we multiply this first one, all right, when we take negative y times 2y, we have a negative 1 times 2, negative 2, and now y times y is actually y to the second power. All right, we looked at that a little bit when we talked about area last week. All right, but y times y is y squared. Now this next one is negative y times negative 1, and we know a negative times a negative is a positive. All right, and this is a positive y. If you want to put the 1 in front, you can. You don't need to. Now this is our answer. All right, we cannot combine these together, and we're going to talk about this tomorrow, that y squared and y are not like terms. So this right here is your answer. All right, now fractions. This is read as the quantity of 7x plus 2 all over 5. I want you to think about when you add fractions together. So for example, if we would have 2/5 plus 1/5, right? They have the same denominator, so we can keep that and add the tops. 2 plus 1 is 3. Well, one other way to look at this, all right, is to take 5 on the bottom, and we're actually adding 2 plus 1. Okay? Now, if you look at this to this, All right, it basically just takes each of these and splits it up. So that's what we're going to do here. It's the distributive property, but with division. So since we can't add 7x and 2, it says all divided by 5. So we're going to take 7x divided by 5 plus 2 divided by 5. And since we can't simplify either one of those, that's our answer. Same thing here. So it says 4x minus 16 over 3. So we're going to split this up into both of these. So we take 4x divided by 3 minus 16 divided by 3. Now, I'm fine with you leaving improper fractions right now. That is fine. That's actually how you want to write them. If it divides or simplifies, you need to do that. So that's it for this one. All right? So this, again, 11 divided by 6. Then we have a plus 3x over 6. Now this one, 11 over 6 can't be simplified, but 3 over 6 can. All right, so this, we can divide each of these by 3. All right, so we can cross this one out, put a 1. 3 goes into 6 2 times. So this answer would be 11 over 6 plus 1x over 2. Or you could simply put 11 over 6 plus x over 2. Right? Either one of those would work. Right? Here's one where we'll have to simplify both. So we take 15 over 12 plus, because it has a plus sign, and then 6x over 12. Now you have to simplify two fractions. So you think about a number that goes into 15 and 12. We know 3 goes into both. 3 goes into 15 5 times. 3 goes into 12 4 times. Now over here we have a completely different fraction to simplify. We know 6 goes into both of these. 6 goes into 6 one time. 6 goes into 12 twice. So we have a new fraction, 5 over 4 plus 1x over 2. And again, you don't need this 1 there if you don't want to put it. Same thing when we have a subtraction problem. So we take 4 over 8 minus this time, because it says on top minus 2x over 8. So now we simplify again. So 4 over 8. And if you want to write your simplifying instead of crossing them out, if you want to show, hey, I'm dividing by 4, you can do that as well. So you divide each of these by 4, and you get 1 over 2, a minus sign. Same thing here, 2 and 8. We know 2 goes into both of them. If you just want to show using division instead of crossing out the numbers, you are able to do that. 2 divided by 2 is 1, and then we have x over 8 divided by 2 is 4. And we have our answer. All right, last type of problems you'll see today. All right, this says negative times the quantity of 5 plus 2. Well, we know that 5 plus 2 is 7. All right, this is a negative, so our answer would be negative 7. Okay, now we're not always going to be able to simplify here, so we have to see this as a negative 1. So it's like negative 1 and 5 plus 2. And think if we do the distributive property like we learned today, this would say negative 1 times 5, which is negative 5. And then we have negative 1 times 2, which is negative 2. And notice when we combine these, we get the exact same answer. So when we actually do our problems, all right, let's look at this. It says a negative 2y minus 3x. Something I think that helps is if you put the 1 right here. So just a reminder that you know you have to take a negative 1 times everything. So we have a negative 1 times 2y. Negative 1 times 2y. All right, now since this is a minus, we go right back here. We have another -1, and we're taking it times a -3x. -3x. -1 times 2 is -2, and we have a y. A -1 times -3, negative times a negative is a positive, and then 3x. So if you look up here, oh, this one isn't right. -2y minus 3x. Close. -2y plus 3x. There's our answer. Okay. Last problem today. Let's just pick one of these. Let's look at letter B. All right. Common mistake with this one. Students see that, hey, we have two negatives in a row. All right. So some students will look and go like this. All right. You cannot do this. Okay. This is not correct. And the reason it's not correct is when you have a negative and then in parentheses a negative x plus 31. Remember, this is a -1, and you need to multiply this to everything in the parentheses. So -1 times -x is a positive x, but we have to take -1 times 31, which is minus 31. All right, so you have to distribute it into the parentheses to get your answer. And here's your assignment. We will take a look at this tomorrow. We're going to go to page 50, number 9 through 38. Number 9 through 38.